Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. New 8 p.m. curfew to combat spike in COVID cases. Effective Wednesday, February 10, Jamaicans will be subjected to a much tighter curfew of 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. until February 24 as the government responds to a sharp rise in COVID-19 cases, which has seen nearly 2,000 Jamaicans infected with the virus over the past 7 days. The existing curfew runs from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement on Tuesday afternoon in the House of Representatives. He also announced that public gatherings are now limited to a maximum of 10 persons, down from 15. Holness warned that beginning Wednesday evening, the police will be enforcing the curfew in a more vigorous manner. The Prime Minister said the government had to move to ensure that the country's healthcare system is not overwhelmed by COVID-19 cases. He told the House that the situation was particularly worrying in the main population centers where 3 of the country's biggest hospitals, including the largest, the Kingston Public Hospital KPH, are at or above 90% capacity. The Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine and the Maypen Hospital in Clarendon are the other 2. The Prime Minister urged Jamaicans to take the virus more seriously and to display a greater sense of personal responsibility. Record high 403 new COVID cases in Jamaica. Jamaica hit a new record number of daily COVID-19 infections with 403 cases of the virus reported across the island on Monday. A record high 1,935 samples were tested during the day. The 403 newly confirmed cases bring the total number of cases on record for the island to 17,701. There were also 44 recoveries, meaning 12,362 persons have now recovered from the virus in Jamaica. Meanwhile, there was also 1 death recorded Monday, the lone casualty, an 84-year-old male from Kingston and St. Andrew, bringing the overall coronavirus death toll in Jamaica to 359. Of the newly confirmed cases, 249 are females and 154 are males, with ages ranging from 63 days to 96 years. The cases were recorded in Manchester 81, St. James 69, Kingston and St. Andrew 66, St. Catherine 54, St. Elizabeth 26, Hanover 21, Trilani 17, Clarendon 17, Westmoreland 15, St. Anne 14, St. Mary 12, St. Thomas 12, and Portland 1. There are 22 moderately ill patients and 13 critically ill patients among the 4,793 active cases now under observation in Jamaica. Female Trilani farmer pleads guilty to sister's murder. Nadine Geddes, a Trilani farmer, pleaded guilty to the murder of her 36-year-old sister, Tamara Geddes, of Reserve District, Falmouth in the parish, in the Trilani Circuit Court on Monday. Nadine's 2 daughters, one of whom is a minor, also pleaded guilty in connection with their aunt's killing. Sentences are to be handed down on the 3 family members later this month. Tamara was shot dead in her home by a gunman on Friday, June 19, 2020. Following months of extensive coordinated investigations across Trilani, St. James, Westmoreland, and the corporate area, detectives arrested and laid charges against the sister of the deceased and her 2 daughters, 21-year-old Shanice Ruddock and a 15-year-old, along with 24-year-old Brian Shelley, 23-year-old Rexon Knott, both of Norwood St. James, and Owen Irwin and 33-year-old Tashana Young, both of St. James addresses. Reports from the Falmouth police were that on June 19 at about 8:30 p.m., Tamara was in her room with her daughter when a gunman entered the house, demanded money, and then shot the mother several times. The police were alerted and she was taken to a hospital where she was pronounced dead. Her daughter, who was with her at the time of the attack, escaped unhurt. On Tuesday, July 14, Nadine Geddes, along with both of her daughters and Owen Irwin, were arrested and charged in connection with the murder of Tamara. The other accused persons were subsequently arrested and charged by investigators. Carib Cement invests $10 million in education support. 44 students from the Bull Bay, Rockfort, Mountain View, Vineyard Town, and Clarendon areas have received technology support towards their education from corporate giants Carib Cement Company Limited. The resources include laptops, tablets, and modems to access Wi-Fi. Also, in advancing its education and technological support, Carib Cement will donate 10 laptops to teachers to help in the delivery of online education. According to Yogo Castro, General Manager at Carib Cement Company Limited, today, digital learning has emerged as a necessary resource for students and schools all over the world. For many educational institutes, this is an entirely new way of education that they have to adapt. We understand the challenges posed by COVID-19 and the disruptive efforts on the education sector, Castro said. We have been working with our communities to help address health and safety needs of schools as well as ways to improve access to education through technology, he added. Online learning is now applicable not just to learn academics, but it also extends to learning extracurricular activities for students as well. According to Belle Lewis, Head of Communications, Social Impact and Media Strategy at Carib Cement Company Limited, in recent months, the demand for online learning has risen significantly and it will continue doing so in the future. We work with communities to identify the most relevant needs. Our hope is for our intervention to have a significant transformational effect on families and will motivate young people to persevere despite the odds, Belle Lewis said. The COVID-19 pandemic has triggered new ways of learning. All around the world, educational institutions are looking towards online learning platforms to continue with the process of educating students. Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Favour Williams, in her keynote address, said with technology being embedded in every aspect of our daily lives, the ministry wants to ensure that all students are connected and gain the skills they need to operate in a world that is becoming more and more technology infused. Thanks to Carib Cement for making this significant donation to the schools and residents of the Bull Bay and Rockford community, Williams said. It is a permanent gift to the education sector as we try to live through the pandemic and help our students stay connected in the teaching and learning experience that they so deserved, she added. Principal of Donald Quarry High School, Talbert Weird, said the impact of the gesture is immeasurable because most of the students at the institution do not have access or gadget for online learning. This gesture will not only aid students of the Donald Quarry High School, but also the other recipients. Our students will tell you that having a device makes life that much easier for them. The company has adjusted its usual CSR budget to have an impact in the era most needed, supporting education, and youth during the pandemic has invested $10 million in education support since 2020. Over $2.3 million has been allocated to health and safety items to schools, and these include sinks to create additional hand washing stations and hand sanitizers and soaps. Additionally, $2.5 million in school uniforms have been distributed to rural schools, while the company also donated $1 million to the Multi-Care Youth Foundation and $250,000 to expand the delivery of an online math learning program developed by the Rockfort Youth Development Council. Education sector benefiting from major JSIF program interventions. The education sector has been the biggest beneficiary of the interventions implemented under the Jamaica Social Investment Fund JSIF Basic Needs Trust Fund BNTF program. The program, now in its ninth cycle, is financed by the Caribbean Development Bank (CDB). It covers 5 target areas: education and human resource development, access and drainage, water and sanitation system, health and livelihood enhancement. Speaking at a recent Jamaica Information Service (JIS) think tank held at the agency's headquarters in Kingston, JSIF Manager Director Omar Sweeney said the investment in education accounts for the majority of the resources deployed through the BNTF. Under the portfolio of education, for example, where more than 50% of the projects have gone, about 58% of the total resources that we received, we have done, more than anything else, classroom spaces, Mr. Sweeney said. He explained that the work involved expanding a number of schools to remove the school shift system, as well as making sure classrooms have proper ventilation. You are talking about providing appropriate classroom ratios, that is student to teacher ratios, in terms of the number of students, especially at the early childhood and primary school level, making sure that these ratios are considered best practice, Mr. Sweeney said. He further pointed out that under BNTF-LX, more than 48 classrooms were constructed, which gives an idea in just one cycle the type of investments that we're making in terms of the physical infrastructure. Meanwhile, BNTF project manager Dainty and Barrett Simit said that in addition to investment in the physical infrastructure, we also work with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information to find out what are the gaps within the sector that they would want us to support. We have carved out several interventions: quality enhancement in literacy and numeracy, which we did under the BNTF 7 cycle, and under the BNTF LX cycle. We have supported the move of the ministry in enhancing the quality of education for the special education unit, she added. Mrs. Barrett Simit also informed that teachers receive training in water, sanitization, and hygiene. The investment, she said, came about in light of COVID-19 pandemic. Having trained the teachers in the schools, we have also procured and distributed items to the schools in the form of foot-operated sanitizing station, hand washing stations, and a few of them will be getting water tanks and pumps, she pointed out. Additionally, she said the schools will also be getting chemicals, hand sanitizers, thermometers, among other items, just to bolster their capacity to operate when we return to face-to-face school full-time. Mrs. Barrett further indicated that the BNTF tries to anchor its position in a holistic model, supporting the teachers and the school in bringing up that quality of education. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.